Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I'll be letting people in as we go with today's webinar, but essentially, Dr. JJ Peterson is going to be talking about lead generation. We're going to listen to the video that he has to present, and then we are going to stop it at the end and have a little bit of a chat about how it works in your business, how it's going to, how the principles that he's going to teach are going to be adaptable in your business. And essentially I can answer any of your questions and go through. Feel free to turn your video off as JJ's talking and take your own notes or stand up and stretch or do whatever you need to do. And then when we come back for conversation, we'll turn our cameras on again. And always jump in the chat if you have any questions, or if you think of anything that you think I want to ask that at the end, throw it in the chat now so that we can watch it together and work through it together, and we don't forget about it, because I'm likely to forget about it. I do that all the time. All right, I'm going to share my screen. We can get stuck straight in. Hang on. Carrie's in the waiting room. Let her in. Okay, the last thing I need to do is share computer sound. Hey, Carrie.
Nice to see you, Faye. Sorry.
Nice to see you. We're going to watch the video, and then we're going to come back for a chat afterwards. So feel free to turn your camera off while we go through.
Okay.
Thumbs up if you can hear.
Morning and welcome to Business Made Simple live coaching. I am Dr. JJ Peterson, and I am going to be walking you through today how to create a powerful lead generator. You know, I get to work with companies all over the world, and one of the things that they ask all the time is, what is the fastest way to grow my company? I'm really looking to, reach new audiences. I'm trying to be more effective in my emails. I'm trying to build better relationships. What is the best way to do it? And I'm telling you right now, the fastest way to grow your company is through strong lead generators. If you want to spend the majority of your time, if you're saying, where should I spend the majority of my time in my marketing? Where should it be? It should be in lead generators. And here's why. Lead generators are they're a free asset that you offer potential customers as a way of building authority and trust. So it's something of value that kind of shares a little bit about what you do, what you offer, the type of business you have, and ultimately you're trying to solve a problem for a customer. And the reason why this is really important is because all of us know, we all get, how many emails do you get a day? I have an entire email just for businesses. I give one email to businesses, and I subscribe to a lot of different lists because I want to see what they're writing, what offers they have out there, but it's a specific email so it doesn't get plugged into my personal email, right? Because we know we get a lot of emails. And so we need to understand that when people are giving you their email address, they know you're going to follow up with an email sequence, right? So when they know you're going to follow up with emails, it has to be worth it for them to give you their email address. Otherwise, emails can just be annoying, right? So you want to think of your email as every email that you get is worth about $10. We all kind of see email addresses. Myself, when I'm getting ready to give my email address away, I go, this better be worth it. It better be worth the emails that I'm going to get. And that's how your customers are thinking when they're giving you their email address. And so the value that you need to provide in a lead generator needs to be about worth $10, $5 to $10, something you're giving your customer, offering something they want to solve a problem in order to build trust and build relationship. Now, so the first question I always get asked is, what's the fastest way to build my company? And I say lead generators, because it really is. When you can get people's email addresses and follow up, that's the fastest way to grow your company. Then often, the second question I get asked is, are emails still effective? Are emails still working? In a world of social media and billboards and television and everything else, are emails still effective? HubSpot recently did some research and found that for every dollar you spend on email, you get a $42 return on that investment. That is a 4,200% return on email investment. You want to get emails. And not only is it a 4,200% return on your investment, that is actually $34 higher than other channels. So that includes social media, Google ads, television ads, everything else. Email is still the most effective way to grow your business. But you need to get those emails. If you're not getting emails, you can't follow up, you're not getting a return on your investment, so on and so on, you're not growing your business. So you need to get those emails, and that's what a lead generator does. But I would say most people are doing it wrong. Most people, the way they are trying to get email addresses is just through like a newsletter. Newsletters can work, but why are people signing up for your newsletter? What are they getting? Are they getting any value? Newsletters don't work. You want to create lead generators that actually people want to download, want to receive. It's something free that is of value that they're going to give you an email for. So you want to offer people something that they want. The first thing you need to think about when creating a lead generator is you want to solve a problem. What problem is your customer experiencing, and how can you help solve that problem, right? If you sell party decor, then the problem that somebody is going to have who wants to buy your product is they need to put on a great party. So what can you give them to help them put on a great party? Just a PDF, a video, something of value that helps them put them on that puts on a good party. If somebody is trying to buy a new mattress, what is the problem they're experiencing when they're going to go buy a new mattress? Well, maybe they don't know what their sleep number is, or what their, why they're sore all the time. Offer them something that answers that problem. What that does, it begins to build trust and they want to work with you. So first think, what's a problem that I can solve for my customer? Another thing that people want is you just want to pique their curiosity about something in their life. This can be a quiz. This can be, some information that you have that they are not privy to. So maybe you have an interview with an expert, or you have a podcast that's going to give them some information that they don't normally have. You want to pique their interest and give them some information that they currently don't have access to. Another thing is you want to organize their thinking. You want to help them see that like the world feels like this, but we're going to tell you this is how you need to think. So for instance, let's go back to the mattress illustration. You might say something like this. Most people think that the softer the mattress you have, the better sleep you're going to have. That's not true. And so now you want to organize their thinking. Tell them this is how you need to be thinking about the products you're going out to buy. When you create a lead generator that does that, when you solve a problem, when you pique their curiosity, give them information they can't have access to, when you organize their thinking and kind of do some paradigm shifts, people are willing to give an email address for that because it's going to make their life better. So just putting out, I see a lot of times people put out videos that are like about us videos, and you can put your email address in to get testimonial videos or about us videos. No. Those do not offer value. They do not solve a problem. That's part of marketing, but it's not a lead generator. It's not valuable enough for people to give their email to you so you can follow up with. So I'm going to give you some rules on creating lead generators, and then I'm actually going to walk through what needs to be in your lead generator, section by section. We're going to walk through that, and then after I've kind of showed you how to create lead generator, then we're going to have some coaching time. I'm going to get some live callers on here, and we're going to answer your questions and figure out how to make you more money through lead generators. All right? So here's some rules for creating lead generators, good lead generators. One, make it valuable. I cannot stress this enough. Make it valuable. People are not going to just willy-nilly give you their email address. It has to be worth something. Second, keep it short. You don't have to do an ebook. You don't have to do kind of this big thing. Keep it short. People don't have a lot of time to spend researching, investing. They just want something quick. So something along the lines of 5 tips that you're going to get, or 3 mistakes people make, or something like that. A short video that they can listen to and watch, a short podcast they can listen to, a short PDF they can read in just a few minutes. That is going to have a great return on the investment you put in creating that. Right? So make it valuable, keep it short, and then probably one of the most important things is give it an interesting title. Don't just say, here's a white paper with information that I'm going to offer you, or here's our newsletter. No, call it tips, call it tricks, call it mistakes to avoid. Make it a little clickbaity, right? Make it so people really are interested in finding out what you have to offer. So I would say make it interesting is probably the most important rule to follow. Yes, keep it valuable. Yes, keep it short. But because you're trying to capture people's emails, make it interesting. Think about it for yourself. Is this something that I would give an email address for? A video, a PDF, an interview, an article? Would I give my email address for this? If you wouldn't give yours for it, then probably other people won't either. So make it interesting. And when you do that, when you actually follow those rules, when you make it valuable, when you keep it short, when you give it an interesting title, then it's going to accomplish what you want. And here's really what you want the lead generator to accomplish. One, you want it to provide enormous value for your customers. What this does is it establishes your brand as an authority in your field. When you are saying, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to give you this value, it positions you as an expert, as a market leader in this area, and people begin to trust you more. And what that does is it creates reciprocity. When you solve a problem for somebody, when you give them value, you're creating a sense of reciprocity, and subconsciously, people feel like they owe you a little bit. We actually, when we were first getting going with StoryBrand, we were putting out podcasts that had a ton of value. We were putting out videos in lead generators that had a ton of value. We put out PDFs that had a ton of value. And we actually talked to somebody, it was a furniture company, and they began using the StoryBrand framework in their marketing, and their business exploded. And it just exploded off of all of the free materials that we had given them, podcast, PDF, and videos. So much so that he actually wrote us and said, I'm coming to the workshop. I'm going to actually take your workshop because I feel like the value that I've gotten is so high that I almost feel guilty that I'm ripping you off. So he actually paid for the workshop because we'd created such a sense of reciprocity with him that he wanted to give back to us. We had given him so much that he decided to give back to us. When you offer value and solve problems for your customer, you position yourself as an authority, but you also create a relationship. You create a relationship with your customers, and it creates a sense of reciprocity. The other thing that you want to think about in all of this is enlighten your customers about the problems you solve. When you can solve a small problem for them through a lead generating PDF or video, it shows that you have the capability of solving other problems for them with your product or service. This just enlightens them about what you offer. And then the last thing, well, 2 things. One, get that email address. And then lastly, use it to segment your audience. You can actually use different lead generators to solve different problems. So let's say, let's go back to the mattress illustration. Let's say you want to target a customer persona. This type of person has a problem sleeping in the same bed with their partner because they like different mattress firmness, right? So that's a problem. They would need to buy a mattress, but they have different mattress firmness with their partner. So you want to create a lead generator that specifically solves a problem for that person. Give them some tips and tricks on how to sleep in the same bed with somebody without disturbing the other person's sleep. Then you might find somebody who you have a persona of somebody who wants to buy a mattress, and really they've never bought a mattress before, and they're uneducated on what to ask. They don't know what kind of firmness is out there. So maybe you want to create a lead generator for them that specifically says 5 things to think about before you buy your first mattress or before you invest in your first mattress. right? Or 5 mistakes people make when buying a mattress. That means that you can target an email campaign specifically to that persona versus the other, the 5 tips for having a great night's sleep with somebody else in the bed. That you can do a different email address. So what you can do, different lead generators can actually segment your audience so you can get more direct with the email sequences that you send. So when you're when you create a lead generator that offers value, that solves a problem, it will do these things for you. It will provide enormous value for your customer. It will establish your brand as an authority in your field. It will create reciprocity by solving a problem. It will enlighten your customer about the problems you solve. It will get you that email address, and it will allow you to directly sell to different audiences. So, what types of lead generators can you use? Well, there's a ton. You've probably already used some, found some to be very effective, but just to kind of give you some different ideas of different things you can create. If you sell direct to customers and you sell like food, or you sell salad dressings, you can offer free samples. Free samples are a lead generator, right? It's valuable. People are willing to give their email address for a free sample. Now, we know that, the amount of times that I've signed up for email lists to get free chocolate, I can't even tell you, but I still also go buy that chocolate later. So, I am on so many different chocolate store email addresses. It's crazy because I want the free chocolate, right? So that free sample works. But if you are a service-based industry, you can also offer free samples. One of the things that we offered at StoryBrand back in the day is we would do free website reviews. So we would get people on the phone and we would give them a 30-minute consultation on their website. And that just demonstrated it was a free sample of the services they would receive when they came to a workshop or when they hired us to come in and work with them in a private workshop with their company. A free sample of your services is also a way to connect with people, show what you do, offer a ton of value, solve a problem, and create reciprocity. So free samples. Podcasts are lead generators. Podcasts are great lead generators because you're often doing interviews, you're offering tips and tricks. The thing about podcasts, though, that you want to remember is always get an email address. So on the podcast, where are you sending people so that they can download something so that you can get their email address? Always be getting an email address. A lot of mistake that people make with podcasts is they just think, well, if we put it out there, then people will begin to trust us. That is part of it. You're offering value, you're creating reciprocity, but you always want to direct them somewhere where you can get that email address. That is key. So podcasts work. You can create video series. Sometimes these are a little bit more expensive, but they don't have to be. So like 3 5-minute videos that just offer tips and tricks for your customer, you can do it on your iPhone. You can create it on your iPhone if you're not at the point where you want to hire a video company or have the capabilities, but once you get to that point, you can also go very high end with it, right? Hire a company to come in and do that for you. But create a video series, even on Instagram, right? On Instagram or TikTok that gives people value. But once again, if you're doing that on social media, find out a way to get their email address. Once you get their email address, then you can send them a longer video, right? So free samples, podcasts, videos. You can put on a live event like an open house, something that people can show up to. You can put on a webinar like what we're doing right here. You can create a sense of where you're offering value, building trust, and helping people solve their problems. And then lastly, what we really love, my favorite is a lead generating PDF. Lead generating PDFs are really easy to create. They don't cost a lot of money and they can last for a long time. So creating a short kind of just PDF that gives 5 tips, 10 tips, 3 mistakes to avoid, something in that space, that really will help you get those email addresses and grow your business. And it is one of the least expensive things you can create. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through specifically how to create a lead generating PDF. Some of you may have seen this before in Marketing Made Simple, but I'm going to talk about it in the context of creating a PDF here, but also how does this work, say, with a podcast? Or how does this work with a video series? Do you use the same sections that I'm going to show you in a lead generating PDF and a podcast? Yes, you do. Do you use the same things I'm going to talk about in this PDF in a video series? Yes, you do. Do you use the same sections in a webinar? Yes, you do. Do you use the same sections in whatever lead generating material you're creating? All right. So here are the sections that I want you to start. This is where you're going to start writing this down. Okay. Because this really is going to give you play by play exactly what you need to write or create in every single lead generator you're putting out there. All right. So the first thing, I already said this, but get a catchy title. Make it interesting. Keep it short. Make it clickbaity. 3 mistakes you're making when you're buying a mattress. 5 ways people are wasting money. 6 things you didn't know about buying a house. 5 ways that your software at your business is leaving you vulnerable to attack, right? Make it catchy, make it interesting. Second, right after you create that catchy title, the very first thing you either want to say or write is you want to directly address the problem that this lead generator is going to solve. So you want to identify the problem and then express empathy and authority. Then you want to ramp up the problem and offer a solution. So talk about how it makes them feel and offer a solution. Then you're going to, after that, you're going to offer value, your tips and tricks that they are going to then, the value that you're going to give to them, offer the tips and tricks. And then the last section is you want to talk about the failure or success that they're going to experience if they do or don't buy your product, and offer a direct call to action. So I'm going to go a little bit into more in depth with each of these and show you some examples, but here, just this is the order you need to have for your lead generator. Catchy title, followed by talking about their problem and express empathy and authority, then ramp up their problem and offer a solution, then offer value, then talk about the failure and success that they will experience if they do or don't follow your advice, and then a direct call to action. So here's an example of a catchy title: 10 ways an e-bike will make and save you money, right? We want to either show people how they're going to avoid losing money or how they're going to make money and with your product or service. So make it catchy so that people will download it, right? Very clear right off the top. And anybody who's interested in buying an e-bike is going to be interested in how this is going to make or save them money. Then right up next, you want to identify the problems that they're experiencing and express empathy and authority. So look at this right here. This says, so you've had it up to here with Nashville traffic. We were totally with you on that, right away. Just you naming it. You're just saying it doesn't have to be long. When you talk about the problem, you want to get to it really quick, make it short and sweet. So you've had it up to here with Nashville traffic. We're totally with you on that. That just talks about the problem, expresses empathy. Now, same thing if you are talking about, if you are doing a podcast, if you are doing a keynote speech, if you are doing a webinar, you want to start out, the very first sentence you want to say when you're getting into the webinar, getting into the podcast, is all about the customer problem. You want to just name it, because what the problem is in the story that you're telling, that's the hook. You're going to hook people and say, this is the problem you're going to solve by going through this, right? So name it. Name the problem, express empathy. And you can see in this PDF, it's just 2 sentences. You're not having to be this crazy copywriter who's writing 1 billion sentences or paragraphs or having to be magic. All you're doing is naming the problem and then expressing empathy. Then the next thing you want to do is you actually want to dig into that problem a little bit more. Make them feel it a little bit. So you're going to ramp up the problem. You're going to talk about how it makes them feel, and then you're going to offer a solution. So in this section, look at this. It says you'd love to find a faster, less frustrating way to get to work. And while you've considered an e-bike, all you see is the initial cha-ching. Sure, e-bikes seem a bit spendy, but over time, and not very much, an e-bike will actually make and save you money. So notice how in that first sentence we talk about frustration, the external problem of finding a faster way to get to work, the internal problem of being frustrated about getting to work, and then we offer a solution. So we just dig in a little bit more. So if you were selling a mattress, again, you'd say, and you're doing a lead generator for that, you might start out by saying, so many people are overwhelmed when it comes to buying a mattress because it's a big investment, but they're worried that they're going to pick the wrong one. We totally get that. That's it. That's the first part. Then you say, it seems so, getting a good night's sleep is so important. Waking up every day exhausted and being frustrated and sore really can affect every area of your life, your relationships, your work. Getting the right mattress is going to solve all those problems. See, problem, dig into it a little bit more, and then offer some empathy. That's it. That's all you need, just a few sentences to hook them into reading the rest of the things that you're about to offer. So then, after that, you're going to offer your tips and tricks, right? So this is the meat of your PDF. This is the meat of your video. You're giving the tips, you're giving the tricks, you're giving the interview, you're giving the value, just something really quick that shows them that you know what you're doing, that you can solve their problem and give them a ton of value. Keep these short. Don't write, and I would say for the most part, there might be a few people who an ebook would work for you. That's if you have a very expensive service that's very specific and technical. An ebook might work for that. But for most of you, you're looking for 3 to 5, really, that's about it. 3 to 5 tips, tricks, things you're offering, value that you're giving them. That's it. 5 things to get this fall, 5 types of customers to avoid, 5 mistakes people make when buying a home, right? You want it to be short and scannable. If you say, here's the 20 things you need or the ebook that you need, people aren't going to give you their email address because they know they're not going to read it. People don't have time. So they're not going to read those long things. Give them something that gives them a win quick. Get them a win quick, because that's going to get you a win quick, all right? Then you want to close things out with just a little bit of either failure or success, showing them what does life look like when they buy your product or service or when they don't, right? And then give one more call to action at the very end. What are they supposed to do in order to buy your product or service? Very simple. Here's just the end of this PDF. Life's too short to sit in traffic, right? You're just showing them like, hey, you're going to lose out on life if you don't buy an e-bike. Then you're going to be able to save time. So we have some failure, we have some success, and then we have the find a dealer button that gives them a call to action. What are they supposed to do next? Find a dealer. That's it. That's all you have to do in a lead generator. I know lead generators can feel really overwhelming to create because it takes some time, but I'm telling you, the investment is worth it. Invest in creating lead generators, whether it's a lead generating PDF like I just showed you, or a video series. You can use the exact same formula for it. Catchy title, name the problem, ramp up the problem, offer your tips, show some success and failure, give a direct call to action. That's it. Webinar, video, anything you create can do that. Now, there are some other types of things that you can do. We'll nuance that a little bit when we get into some of the questions. But for most of you, this formula is going to work. All right. Let me show you just a couple examples that our StoryBrand certified guides have created that have worked really well. Here is one that was created by Matt. It's called Top 5 Things That Impact the Cost of Your Insurance. So this is huge. His customer that he created this for is going to try to get people to buy insurance. And by creating this PDF, what they're doing is they're showing, hey, you can trust us. We're going to help you save money. Watch how he ramps up the problem right here. When it comes to your malpractice insurance, we understand that it can be incredibly frustrating. Naming it right here. And then that first sentence, first paragraph. When it comes to your malpractice insurance, it can be incredibly frustrating that you can't predict or even understand what goes into the cost of your policy. We completely understand your frustration. Name the problem, express empathy. Now, go a little bit deeper. Lawyers' professional liability insurance is more complicated than, say, car insurance, where the cost is primarily dedicated to your age, gender, and type of car you drive, where you live, da-da-da. So what does go into the cost of your malpractice insurance? Now we're going to start getting into the solution. So we ramped up the problem. Now we're going to get in the solution. Now here's the tips and tricks, right? just saying, here's the 5 things you need to think of. Look how scannable this is, how quick this is. Somebody can read this and get a ton of value right away. Here's another example. Don't go another year without creating your marketing blueprint. So this is a plan that they're going to offer that shows the value that they bring. With this one, I just kind of want to show you the last part of it to show you how this ended with some failure and success and call to action. Right there it says, don't go another year without creating your marketing blueprint. Click here to get instant access to this free resource. Boom, call to action. Right? So those are some service-based industries, but what if you sell a product directly to the client? What if you're a chocolate maker like I love, right? Here's an example of one for handcrafted sauces, right? So 5 simply flavorful dinner recipes. All this is just giving some value of like, all right, we want to sell our sauces. What's the problem that people have? Well, they don't know what to cook with those sauces. They don't know how to impress people. So we're going to give them some value in this. Very, very simple. And then there's the website down at the bottom to get people to go and buy more sauces, right? Look at how clever this title is, right? 5 simply flavorful dinner recipes. 5 simply flavorful dinner recipes. It wasn't just, 5 ways you can use this. They jazzed it up a little bit. They created a title that actually was a little bit more interesting. And then ultimately, the way that they put the recipes is simple, it's clear. Look at this. Simply place all ingredients in a crock pot first in the morning and let it cook on low all day. Yum. Make sure the pork has an internal temp of at least 145 before eating. Right? This is simple. It's quick. They're giving value to their customers. So my hope is that by the end of this, by the end of this time together, that if you have not created a lead generator, that you now have the ability to go and just create one. And here's the thing. Don't wait for it to be perfect. Don't wait for it to be absolutely perfect. Create one. Put it out there. Test it. If it's getting email addresses, keep it out there to keep getting email addresses. If it's not, create another one. You're going to want to test some of these with the market and see which performs better. And keep creating them one after another until you find the one that really performs the best. And then if you create another one and you start getting less email addresses, then go back to the other one. Don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. Keep it easy. Make it valuable for your customer. We teach you how to create this in our story brand marketing workshop, but more importantly, what we do is we actually teach you what problem you need to be focusing on in order to get the right customer email addresses. We talk about how to position your solution in a way that shows customers how your life is going to be better on the other side after they buy your product or service, right? So in our story brand marketing workshop, we teach you about lead generators, but more importantly, what we do is we actually teach you about how to create the language that's going to go in your lead generators. And so I wanted to bring this up because we actually have a workshop coming up in September where what we do over 2 days, it's a live stream workshop where Donald Miller and myself and some of our other staff walk you through how to create a compelling story, how to use the right messaging, the right words to put in your lead generators, to put on your website, to put in email addresses. And because you're here on this live coaching, we wanted to offer something specifically for the people who made the time to come and learn how to create lead generators, is we have a special offer just for you that if you come to the Story Brand Marketing Workshop in September, we're going to give you, and just you guys who are attending this, $100 off. So you're going to get $100 off with the code September22Live100. That code is just exclusively for our BMS users who are coming to the live coaching. You get $100 off, and over 2 days, you get to sit down with the coach, learn from Donald Miller and I, get more coaching like what we're going to do today, and show you, make sure you're doing it right. Make sure that you're creating the right language, the right story to invite customers to do business with you that positions them as the hero and you as their guide. And you are going to be able to walk out of that 2-day workshop with all the language you need for your lead generators, for your website, for your emails, for all of your marketing collateral, so that you know that you're going to be effective in communicating your story. And we also have a VIP option, which offers a little bit smaller breakout room, more time with your coach, and you get a video review of your website. They'll be able to talk to you about the lead generator you're creating, the language you're using, all of that. It's September 13th and 14th, and you can register at storybrand.com. Again, this is just an exclusive offer for you guys, and the reason we wanted to bring it up here is because even as you're learning to create lead generators, you want to have the right story in that lead generator. You want to make sure you're solving the right problems for your customer. You're inviting them into a compelling story where they're the hero and you're the guide, and you want to make sure that it's effective. And the best way to do that is with a coach at the live stream. Make sure you're telling the right story. So go to storybrand.com, register, use the code September22Live100, SEPT22 Live 100, and you're going to get $100 off on your registration. So, speaking of coaching, not only are you going to be able to get coaching at the live stream, but you're going to get some coaching today. And this is one of my favorite things to do, is be able to talk to people about their lead generators that they're creating. And so we are now going to go into a Q&A where some people that are on this call right now have submitted questions ahead of time. And I have seen most of them, and we're going to be able to have a conversation about how to create effective lead generators. So, who is our first caller that we are going to be working with today? And really, just before that person comes up, the thing that I want to say is, what I want everybody to pay attention of the things that I'm talking to our callers about, because the things I'm going to be talking with them about are going to actually be applicable to everybody. Right? So pay attention, even if you don't work in the industry of the person that I'm speaking to directly, this is going to be applicable to you. So even if I don't get to all of your questions, it's going to be able to apply to everybody. So I think we're ready to go. And who is our first caller that we have on today's live coaching?
Hi, I'm Kelly.
Hi, Kelly. How are you? Where are you from?
I'm in Durango, Colorado.
Durango. Ugh, I wish I was in Colorado right now. It's like 100 degrees here in Nashville. So
Pretty gorgeous.
I love to escape to Colorado in the summer in Nashville. So wonderful. Well, thank you for being here. What's your question?
Well, I'm looking for that sweet spot between being too complicated, and not easy enough, but also not being too simple that it's not really that great value.
So what kind of service do you offer?
Well, do you ever feel like you're going to explode at work from all the pressures? You can constructively release those management pressures by regularly scheduling an executive support call. You can share with confidentiality and brainstorm positive solutions, because we believe that every executive deserves to be well supported, because well-supported executives advance their teams to achieve their visions.
Love it. That's a great story. And because my boss is in the room, I'm not going to say that I do that. So I don't hire you. I won't. But call me. I'm just kidding.
Excellent. I've just noted one objection.
So here's what you want to do with your lead generators. You actually still, I think, want to keep it pretty simple. Now, here's the first suggestion I would just say is basically something along the lines of like 5 ways people get out of balance at work, or 5 things to fix, something like that. But more specifically, I would ask you, how do you do things a little bit differently than other people out there who are in your same field?
Right. I think my ability to organize multiple pieces into one smooth process is probably what sets me apart.
And when you say like organize different pieces, what different pieces are you talking about?
Well, for example, being able to take a complex project like sending people to Africa to serve on a week-long mission trip, I'm able to take all of the elements, from the logistics to the finances to the personal support care of the individuals, and create a planning flow to make sure all of those are addressed as you get prepared, as you're there, and then after they get back.
Gotcha. Okay, great. So then what you might want to do, because you're really talking about plan and organization, what you want to push into is like, what problem is created, what are they not able to do in their business or their life or their nonprofit if they have to focus on all the details of the plan, right? So essentially it's like you can't run when you're working on, say, specific projects, when you don't have a system or a plan to be able to help those run smoothly, what ends up happening is you neglect other areas of your business, you end up neglecting your family, you end up neglecting, right? So you want to kind of ramp up the problem of when you don't have a plan and when you don't have a system or somebody to help you create a system, you're going to deal with all this stuff. So then you want to say, here's 3 things that you can do to begin putting a plan in place. So you don't go, you like give a little bit of the value, don't give all of it, and even give them something that they can't do on their own that really you're the only person that can do, right? So you might even literally say, design a holistic approach from signing people up on the trip to all the way to the end. You know, give them something that feels a little overwhelming to do so that they do have to hire you to do it, but you're still giving them the tip, right? If they want to do it on their own, they can totally do it. But if they don't, if they can't, then then they can come to you, right? That same kind of thing that we often do is we give away a ton of value. If you actually follow StoryBrand, you're going to get a ton of value and you're going to be able to do things on your own. But in reality, a lot of people want to do it faster and they want to make sure they know they're doing it right. And so we give away a ton of value, but then we say, look, if you want to actually get it done faster and you want to do it right, that's where we come in. But we're going to give you the tips, right? And so you can do it on your own because people are at different phases of business. They might just be starting out and trying to learn on their own. So same kind of thing with you is you want to say, here's 3 tips to get started, or 3 things to more organize your plans, or 5 things that are going to free up your time so you don't feel so stressed. Something like that. And you can do it in a video series, you can do it in a PDF, but something that just gives them some value. And then even of those 5 tips and tricks, maybe if you do 5, 3 of them should be something that they do on their own, and 2 might be things that only you can do at least, or only you can do fast and right.
Okay, excellent.
Yep, keep it short, keep it sweet.
That part was the piece I wasn't feeling confident enough to do, is to leave that room for them to come back to me. So,
yeah,
awesome.
Great.
Thank you.
Yep. And that's what I would say for everybody. Thank you so much, Kelly. For everybody on here, what you're listening for, you're looking for is, what tips and tricks can I give them that maybe they can do on their own, and what can only I offer? And what is that thing that you do that can go to kind of the next level for them in their business? So great.
Okie dokie. Coming back to us here in Australia, feel free to turn your camera on and feel free to leave it off if you'd like to as well. No pressure. That was a lot of information. I've got like 2 pages of notes in front of me, and essentially it's all stuff I know because I'm StoryBrand trained, but it's still such a good reminder because I'm going through his list and going, oh, I'm not doing number 2. Oh, I'm not doing number 6, like the entire time. So, you know, it's not just about the knowing, it's also about the doing. Carrie, what did you think in terms of lead generation? Do you have anything out there in the marketplace currently?
I do, but I want some help because it didn't fire. So I thought I started to list off all the things that he said, and I've got nearly all of them. I've got a quiz on the website, which I do get some email back off. I put micro tips out every week. They go up on LinkedIn, all the socials, and then I put them on a YouTube channel. I'm doing reels now, which are little videos, which really, I just thought then I went, holy hell, what I can do, the notes I do for the reels, I could actually put into a little, a PDF. I could, right? I just thought, actually, there you go, you've got something you can use. The podcasts are free anyway.
But are you doing a call to action for a downloadable?
What, off the podcast? Yes,
because
I do a give me a little bit of love, share this with somebody, blah blah blah.
No, that's not getting their email address though. That's just
them sharing.
Yeah. So what I did in the beginning of my podcast, which in watching this, I went, oh, I've completely dropped that in terms of my podcast, is that I would have a recap, like a one-page PDF recap, or perhaps I had a copy of my to-do list template or that system template or something, that I would encourage listeners, if you want to do this for yourself, download my free template, and that would get anyone who is listening, I would get their email addresses from that, but I've completely dropped that off. I've still got a call to action, very similar to yours, Carrie, and, share, leave us a rating or review, tag me on your Insta story. But in terms of me capturing their details, I had dropped that. So that's one of the many things I've got on my list now to have. So it sounds like you've got lots of little things, Carrie, not quite anything.
Oh, I think the best one that's sitting on LinkedIn at the moment, and it's there, is 9 ways to be human-centered leader for 2030. And what I've done is there's 5 mindsets shifts and 4 skill set shifts, and we broke them down. I got them into really nice, I think I gave you a set of postcards. I put them into the postcards. Remember I gave you at the conference? So, and
You're right there.
Yeah. And I had a principal last week when I gave her some, she said, I'd be happy to pay you for these. And I said, at the moment, that they're for you. No, they're for you. So I'm giving her another call next week to say, have we got anybody? What can I do for you?
Now, so, I know you have my email address, Carrie, but when you gave those to me, you didn't ask me for my email address. And so that's a really important part of the lead generation, is that you're not just getting them information for free, that there is a transaction that is happening. And so that post on LinkedIn that you said gets a lot of traction, that the 5 and the 4, what you need to do is perhaps the LinkedIn post itself needs to have number 1 and number 2, but in order to get the rest, they need to download. And in order to download, they need to give you their email address.
Oh, well, I might give it another run. I can give it another run, because you can repeat things. So yeah.
I would just tweak it, put the whole post into a PDF, tease a little bit of it, and then get them to give you their email address in order to get the rest.
All right. The other thing that I thought he was really clever with, when he said, just work out what can your clients do on their own, but then what can you then do for them? So it's been working when I work in a team or a group. I can then say, if you're interested to go a little bit further here, this is what you can do. And they all put their hand up, go, yeah, we'll do the next step. So then you go back to the principal and you say, you've got a whole lot of leaders here who want to go the next step. Can you back them? Can you back them? They want, so that's been working, but I find it really hard on the socials to get any traction. So people are liking it, it's there, but I wonder if there's too much that's free.
Yeah. And I guess that's just a matter of testing, isn't it? Like putting something out and then pulling something back. Yeah. And I like what he said about keeping it simple, 3 things or 5 things, because people are pressed for time. Yeah. But I guess it's about trying and testing and see what gets some traction, and then really, really holding to that. I mean, we did something similar for the Simply Stacey Morgan brand for a while, in that we had the to-do list out, and then we had a video series out, and then and what we've done is essentially compiled all of that as a 10 ways to maximize your productivity, and that is a lead generator that's working for us at the moment. More so than the other ones. And we did, we've tried 10 different ones to get to the one that's working. So there is a certain amount of trial and error that you need to kind of sit into.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I thought this would have a go. I did an end of year work fatigue buster workshop, simple and effective skill boosters, 2 sessions, 1 hour, smack bang on school ending time, like 3:30 to 4:30, with a price for the 2 workshops. And then if you had 4 people, I took 150 off it. But it was about you'll get 10 fatigue buster hacks to use every day, for leaders to use every day, some energizing tools, shine up your skills. And they're in the schools, they're all too buggered, they're all too exhausted, and it didn't go. So I'm thinking that's the one I could break down, do something small for, and then make that the generator for the workshops.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Working backwards like that.
Thank you, Brilliant. Kelly, for letting me talk.
Kelly, tell us about what your takeaways were and what your thoughts are in terms of what you're going to do for your business.
Yeah, so I've sort of been trying to do a little bit more with the social media part and getting out there. So I've just only recently moved, I guess, in the last 6 months to Port Macquarie. So I'm not known here, and I'm a mortgage broker. So lots of my business is back in the other town that I used to live, but I need to show people, you know, who I am and what I'm about and why they should come to me, because there's lots of different mortgage brokers around.
Yeah, it's so relationship based, isn't it? Your line of work.
And so it's creating that different image, and I'm networking in a BNI group, so that's really good. But I've got to be able to, you know, put something down where it's a bit more structured, so it's not just content that I'm delivering or not just too much information. But yeah, I've listened to a couple of lead generating sessions over the last couple of weeks, and we're all saying the same thing, you know, find a problem or identify a problem and show the solution that you can bring. And definitely that call to action. So, you know, at the end of my post, I'm always putting down call now, but I'm not necessarily asking for their email address or getting something. I'm just putting the control in their hands, but can I change that up a little bit so that if someone likes or comments, then I can, you know, go into their message and send them a direct message and follow it up and be a little bit more proactive with it.
Yeah. I mean, in your line of work as well, you'd want to be segmenting anything that you're doing in terms of the message that you've got going out there, because you've got, you know, the people that are buying their first home is very different to the people that are refinancing in order to get an investment property. And there's a whole lot of difference between the two. So a lead generator of, you know, the 10 things you must know before you buy your first house is for this end of the market, and the, you know, 5 mistakes that people always make when buying investment properties is for the people on this end of the market. And then, you know, really trying to segment your list so that you're making sure that you're serving, and I'm sure there's others in between, but I'm just using those two as the example, but really trying to make sure that you're becoming the authority and the go-to person for that big problem. Like, because this is like, you're dealing with the
biggest purchase,
the life-changing investment, like the, you know, set yourself up for your future problem of all problems. So speaking to that in, you know, 6 different ways. And I would start by just choosing one of them. And let's say it is the first home people, you know, doing the 10 mistakes that people make, and then the 5 things you must know before you buy, and the 3 things you have to ask your mortgage broker in your first meeting, and like just picking 5 or 6 of those things, because you'd have all that knowledge, you'd know, you know, the answer to all of those questions. And like JJ said, it's got to be about, you know, here's out of the 5 things you've got to ask the mortgage broker, like 3 of them are really obvious questions, but 2 of them are ones that are quite niche and specific to you. So they kind of know that they have to go to you in order for that, for that to work.
And that catchy phrase is, you know, it is something that draws you in. So a first home buyer, for example, you know, if they did see, you know, what are the 5 mistakes that first home buyers make, would draw someone in compared to, you know, are you looking to purchase your first property? So that initial catchy phrase to get people's attention. So I'm definitely going, I wrote so fast because he was talking so fast.
Me too,
So I wrote down like about 4 different pages. I'm looking forward to being able to structure it better and just have some, like, a plan, not just go, oh, well, I've got 5 minutes, let's do a Facebook post, and just because, you know, I've got to get something out there.
Yeah, but be wary. You know, the Facebook post could be something as simple as, there's 5 mistakes that everybody makes when they're buying their first home. Do you want to know what they are?
Yeah.
And, you know, send me a DM or send me a message, or like, it can be as simple as that. And then all you need to do is flick them, once they give you the email, flick them off the 1-page Canva thing where you just kind of stick the 5 things in and then send it off, and you've got their email address to then follow them up. Don't as he said, don't overcomplicate it. It can, you don't want to share the content of the PDF in the Facebook post, but
Yeah, that's right.
the Facebook post can just be the catchy title. Do you want it? Send me a message, and then see how you go from there.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're doing all the right things if you're, new to town and you're networking and you're meeting people and
yeah, I'm definitely enjoying all the coffee dates.
yeah. Port Macquarie's a pretty small place, so you'll know everybody before too long.
Yeah.
I love that. And shout out. I would love I'll follow you on socials and then look out for your lead generation as well.
Yeah, good.
Carrie's not in Port Macquarie, but she does have Port Macquarie connections. She does have lots of friends.
Yeah, cool. I wrote your name down so that I could Insta stalk you.
Okay.
Oh.
Or LinkedIn stalk people and see what they do and connect that way.
Carrie's fabulous on LinkedIn. You'll have a good time. She's got a great podcast too.
Oh, I've had a little break. I just needed to quieten the noise down.
So did I.
Yeah.
My voice, the 2 times I tried to record, my voice disappeared.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's a sign.
Well, I can hear it tonight. I was going to say, are your vocal cords all right?
I've just taught all night.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I taught and then I went to the Tourism Association and presented for 15 minutes and now I'm here. So
do you know, for young teachers, that's the first thing that happens to them in their first year of teaching is that a lot of them have got, some work done on their vocal cords. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like doctors. It's like registrars who are on their feet for 18 hours a day. They're what are those things? The metatarsals go in their feet. It's a similar thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm definitely not taking care of myself the way that I should be, perhaps, Carrie. That's probably
Stacey, I'm going to send you some of my daughter-in-law's, and it's her father's beautiful honey from Queensland. It's 4 little bees. It's named, she had 4 children at the time. Now they've got 5, and she tried to get the name 5 in the hive, but she can't get that. Someone else has got it. But I'll send you some honey, and it's raw honey. There's no processing. Just stick it on a teaspoon, and put in. Some days it used to be half an aspro, and you just let it sit on your throat, and let it just slide down. And that used to be that's what we did at home. Yeah, I'll send you some honey. Right.
I love it.
Yep.
And on that note, please feel free to reach out if there's anything that you need. If you're creating your own lead generator and you want to, run it by me, if you want to flick it to me and I can give you some hints and tips, please do.
All
please,
right.
as always, stay in touch. I'm at Simply Stacey Morgan on Instagram. And hello to everybody at home who's watching the recording. Thank you very much for taking the time to get to this part of the video. Again, reach out if you need anything. Have a wonderful night, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.